Leprechaun traps have become super popular in recent years and are now frequently assigned as a family project for elementary school students for St. Patrick's Day. Kids and adults, like my husband, love Legos, so I thought a leprechaun trap made out of Legos would be a fun idea. Now, my husband, Josh, is a massive lifelong Lego fan, and he has an enormous amount of spare Lego parts that I get to dig through for projects like this. Since he already has a huge variety of pieces, I decided to pre-plan the build using BrickLink's free Studio app, which I will link to in the description. It allowed me to search for specific parts as well as browse a catalog of parts I could potentially use that I might not have thought of. After my initial design, I went through Josh's workshop to see which of my chosen pieces I could find, and I ended up redesigning the leprechaun trap just a little bit to work with the pieces we did already have on hand. Now, during my actual build, I did not personally have an enormous amount of green Lego pieces to use for the box of the trap. So I just used whatever colors I had on hand. I tried to stick with colors that I thought kind of fit a St. Patrick's Day theme, such as white, brown, and yellow, as if it were gold. Some of my pieces were old and discolored. It doesn't matter, they still work. I just put those pieces in the back where you couldn't really see them. My original design without modifications is 128 pieces, which is pretty reasonable for a build with children. The Studio app also allowed me to create step-by-step instructions for building the leprechaun trap, and they look just like the Lego instructions that you get from the Lego company. So I will link to those instructions in the description as well. Now, when I designed this build in the Studio app, I used a lot of 1 by 1 by 5 pieces for the rainbow and a few 1 by 1 by 3 bricks. I didn't have any of that on hand, but I did have a lot of just plain old 1 by 1 bricks in the colors I needed. So I just used those 1 by 1s to build up the size that I needed. So you'll see that all of my 1 by 1 by 5s are actually just a stack of 5 1 by 1 bricks. I also did not have a cauldron lying around. I know you can find them in some Harry Potter sets in the Magicus Lego game, but I didn't have one. I didn't even have any round corner pieces, especially not in black to use. Now, I did have a Leprechaun minifigure that came with a pot of gold. It's a very, very tiny pot, and it has a few gold pieces in it, but I wanted something a little bit bigger, just for visuals and to be more enticing to the leprechaun that may visit you on the night before St. Patrick's Day. So just use whatever you have on hand to build your little container of gold inside of the trap. I just used 2 black 1 by 4s and 2 black 1 by 2 pieces to create a little square pot of gold. And I just put my golden 1 by 1 round plates into the little hole. Voila, a pot of gold. As far as the open O clips that hold the lattice door frames over the top of the trap, I only used 1 per door just so it would be a little bit easier for them to move up and down. You can easily put 2 or 3 clips onto the sides of the trap to hold that door steadily in place and make sure they don't pop off. But I also just didn't have enough of the open O clips, so I used what I had, and the trap still worked fine. So just use your judgment, do what you prefer, and make the trap how you like it. In addition to not having a lot of 1 by 1 by 5 bricks, I just didn't have the length I needed for a lot of the plates and longer bricks. So I just pieced them together. If I needed a 1 by 8 brick, I would put together 2 1 by 4s of the same color. If I needed a 1 by 5 plate and I didn't have it, I put together a 1 by 2 and a 1 by 3. It's not a big deal, doesn't really affect the functioning of the trap, so use whatever you have available. Don't worry about going out and buying new Lego pieces for this project. When I was designing the rainbow, I actually wanted it to be a lot bigger and stretch all the way to the other side of the base plate, but I just didn't have enough pieces, so I shortened it to use what I had on hand. But if you have those pieces available, feel free to make a gigantic rainbow that stretches all the way across and move your cloud to be in front of the other end of the rainbow wherever it lands. You'll also notice in my real life rainbow build that the top does not look quite as I designed it in studio. I did not have enough of the red 1x1s that are arched with the recessed stud coming off of it. So I used what I had, and then I kind of had to fudge it with some red 1x1s and plates. And so the top is a little more square than rounded, but that's okay. It still looks like a rainbow. I was happy with the final product. You'll notice one extra piece on my finished trap that I came up with at the last second, and it makes it fully functional in a real working leprechaun trap. I also designed and printed a custom free gold sign to attach to a regular 1x6x5 panel, and you can get my design for free at the link in the description. As for how this trap works, it's actually really simple. Leprechauns are super smart creatures, so they know when they're being lured into a trap. They think they can escape anything. However, they also can't resist getting their hands on a pot of gold. This is what I imagine a leprechaun would think when he sees my trap.
Hee! They think they can outsmart me. These trapdoors and jail bars are no match for my brain. I'll hop in for the gold, climb the bars of the door back to the top, and push open the trap to escape. Silly humans, they'll never match me wit.
However, the addition of this simple chain piece makes that super difficult for the leprechaun to accomplish. As soon as he jumps on the jail door to open it and get to the gold, the chain will pull down the secondary trap door, which locks right into the Lego pieces on top of the walls. Even if the leprechaun manages to open the trap door, it will then pull the chain up again and the jail door will shut again. While escape is probably not impossible, the leprechaun puts himself at a serious risk of getting squished by one of the doors in his attempt. You'll just have to set the trap out the night before St. Patrick's Day to see if he manages it. Check out the description for links to everything you need to copy this Lego Leprechaun trap, including a list of the parts I used and where they can be purchased if you don't have them in your Lego stash. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the Bright Color Mom channel, and leave a comment letting me know if you caught a leprechaun this year.